Hello, YouTube! This is Darkspineslayer, and we're doing something a little different today. I do intend to continue my Let's Play of Super Mario Advance 4 for the anyone watching that thing. I'm having fun with it. I hope you guys are having fun with it too. I'd like to hear from you if you are. Comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But, doing something a little bit different today. You can probably tell from the title. We're going to try a bit of a review. And this is a little bit different from how I usually do my reviews. Usually heavily scripted. I don't usually do a lot of video reviews because they just end up boring. I have an old Fire Emblem Awakening review up and got next to no views, probably because it was just dull to watch, at least to me anyway. But today we're going to be talking about the newest Mario game in the series, Super Mario 3D World. That's mirrored, isn't it? Okay, we'll see if we can fix that in editing. Okay, but yeah, Super Mario 3D World, Wii U exclusive, and when it was first showing off, a lot of people, myself included, were like, what the hell are you doing, Nintendo? This looks like the original cash-in, and it didn't look drastically different from the 3DS entry Super Mario 3D Land, which admittedly I enjoyed quite a bit, but it had its problems. Worlds were a little barren. It was almost literally platforms floating in the sky. But as they started rolling out more and more information on the game, it kind of picked up a little bit. You started to see that kind of Super Mario Galaxy 2-esque craziness with the level design. They just go completely nuts with it. You got all right, let's back up a bit here. So let's go with the premise of the game. It's the same kind of style as 3D Land, obviously. You got your Mario, Luigi, Princess, and Toad. And if you've ever played Super Mario Brothers 2, then that's kind of how they play out all the different characters. You got Mario as your standard guy. You got Luigi with his high fluty jump. Woohoo! And Princess, she doesn't run quite as fast or jump quite as high, but she has a little bit of a glide. Not nearly as much of a glide as she did in Super Mario Brothers 2. That's been nerfed a bit. It would kind of break the platforming if it was still that heavy, but her glide is still pretty good for making more precise jumps. And then you got Toad. He's just the speedy little fucker. He just runs all over the place. He's the fastest character in the game. Yeah, the general premise is that these four are having a walk one day and they come across a broken glass pipe, and the Mario Brothers actually do some plumbing and fix the pipe, and oh no! Bowser shows up. He kidnaps this fairy in a bottle. Apparently these are called Sprixies. And because it's only okay when Link does it, the four of them chase Bowser through the clear pipe into the Sprixie Kingdom, and whoopee shit, here's your excuse for a bunch of levels. The levels, as usual, are the star of the show. I mean, it starts out pretty standard, easing you into the world, the controls, all that fun stuff. But the worlds, the levels, they consistently throw something new at you. You're never bored. You're always coming across new, interesting mechanics or ways to use old mechanics. Like I said, it's very reminiscent of Galaxy 2 in that fact, as the game doesn't do very much new, but what it does do, it just goes nuts with older concepts. It just goes insane with it. Heavily advertised, as you can see. Cat suit, one of the new power-ups. I think there's only 2 new power-ups in the game. We'll start with the cat suit, which is almost a sickeningly adorable, but it offers it offers just enough changes to the gameplay that it can be seen as one of the more helpful power-ups in the game. Gives you kind of a scratch attack to attack enemies with a melee that isn't your jump, which is good because jumps can sometimes be hard to judge. And gives you kind of a little dive if you hold the scratch attack button down as you're jumping, which I can mostly see being good for speed running techniques and maybe some speedrunning techniques, and what was I going to say? I can see it being good for speedrunning and kind of shortcuts more than how I've used it, which is jumping off the stage most of the time. The other power-up is actually one of the more interesting power-ups. It always brings a smile to my face whenever it appears in the game. It's the double cherry. And when you grab that, the character, you kind of get an extra character on the screen. If you have one Mario, you're going to grab this power-up. You're going to have 2 Marios running around, controlling pretty much the same. You can have up to 5 clones, and the way they use this mechanic, the way it just gets hectic as hell, the way you have to kind of play around with it, try to keep them in sync or try to desync them in some situations. And it's just nuts. It's just great fun. It's really hard to explain, but it's just nuts. They even have a boss battle with this. Oh, there's a lot of glare coming off my beanie here. It's just nuts. They even have a boss battle with this, and it is just insanity. And that's really the thing with Super Mario 3D World in general. It's just, they go nuts with it, and it's just pure fun in a video game. I know that's cliche as fuck, but it is just pure magic from start to finish. And I went through 90% of the game with just a huge grin on my face, and that's one of the biggest compliments I can give the game. Visually, it looks gorgeous. I mean, it's Mario, and frankly, I never thought HD would do much for the kind of sterilized look of Mario, this cartoony kind of visual style. It's clean, it's reflective, it's nice to look at. Some of the levels are just gorgeous. Musically, it's all right. I mean, you got your standard remixes, your sounds that you've had since the original NES game. Nothing quite as memorable as Super Mario World on the SNES. But I mean, musically, it's definitely memorable and lends to the atmosphere. And control-wise, it works pretty much the same as Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS. I mean, you have your long jump back. If you hold the button down long enough, you can do the back somersault and all that fun stuff. You can do the roll forward and all that. Doesn't really use the gamepad a whole heck of a lot. Maybe a handful of levels demand use of the gamepad, but I see that mostly being design. I mean, this was kind of designed as a 4-player co-op thing. It's not all that surprising that you can play through most of the game with a pro controller and probably have a better time with it. I don't mean that as a detractor from the game in any way, but gamepad implementation kind of iffy at best. But yeah, Super Mario 3D World. It is a pretty fun game. It's the Mario we should have had at launch, Nintendo. We went like 10 months with no software, but that's another video entirely. But this is definitely, if you haven't picked up a Wii U yet, this is probably one of the pieces of software you're going to want to pick up with it. Easily rivals Galaxy 2 in my opinion. It's not the same thing as Galaxy 2. If you didn't like 3D Land all that much, you might appreciate 3D World a little bit more. It does a better job at fleshing out the levels, making it feel like more of a world rather than platforms in the sky. But yeah, that's Super Mario 3D World, and I give it a hearty recommendation. So until next time, stay classy, YouTube.